Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining the Open Option webinar here for students who are open option in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. This webinar is to help you kind of understand what to expect this summer regarding open option and advising, and hopefully answer any questions that you may have regarding your course enrollment and what is to come this summer. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and get started. So what should you be doing right now? In May is when you get access to the online experience, and that is what you should be focusing on in May. We do, as advisors, expect that you have spent some time reading that material, researching things in that online experience, because that is what we will expect you to understand when it comes to engaging with you in your advising meetings. Just something to be aware of is you won't actually have access to your open option advisor until late May and early June. Your advisor will reach out to you in June. The reason for that is we're finishing out the semester, wrapping up graduation, and so we are kind of still processing things on our end in May, but in June you will have access to actually schedule and meet with your advisor if you have further questions that this webinar does not answer for you. So first step is to complete that online experience. Like I said, you need to be making sure that you spend a significant amount of time reading that material. How do you complete the online experience? It's actually two pieces. First and foremost, you need to complete the advising. It's engineering advising quiz. And then the other quiz that you would need to do is the enrolling in classes quiz. So both of those have a series of quizzes that you have to complete in order to unlock the ability to register or select an enrollment window. Not register, I apologize for that. Enrollment doesn't start until July. However, in July, it occurs in a series of windows, which I'll go over here in a minute. But so first and foremost, you complete the online experience. Then you select when you're actually going to register for your classes in July. So you sign up for your enrollment window in your MyCU info. I'm going to pull up an example of what that looks like here so you can see that. So when you log into your MyCU info, you'll see here is the online experience, and that is where you go to complete your online experience. Then you'll see advising. You won't see access to your advisor, like I said, until June. But in June, that is where you can see exactly who your advisor is. And then step 3 is where you actually pick an enrollment window. So here, I know it says this is for our Spring Start students, but here is where in this important message box, you'll see select your enrollment window. If you have not done the online experience, it's going to ask you to do that first. And then once you complete the online experience, it takes about 24 hours after you complete it in order to gain access to select when you register for classes. And like I said, classes registration begins over the month of July. If you have any AP or IB credit, we do recommend you don't pick the first enrollment window. That is because that's typically when we're getting that credit into the system, processing it. And so if you are going to register for something that's based on the credit, we usually like to give just not picking the first window so we can give a little bit of a window for us to get that processed. Something to be aware of is in June, late June, half of the classes for open option are pre-placed onto your schedule. Those two courses are Gene 1400 and your math class based on the math placement exam. And I will talk about math placement here in a minute. Gene 1400 is our first year projects course. This is an interdisciplinary projects course which gets you hands-on engineering design right from the beginning. I would say it's probably the best course your first semester to kind of explore different areas of engineering, whether that's coding, manufacturing, a little bit of circuit work. So it's going to give you a broad kind of overview of different areas of engineering and an engineering design project right from the beginning. So in June, actually probably the week of June 18th, is when you will see about half of your classes pop up onto your schedule. Now, the reason we do that is to try to make enrollment easier for you. That way you're not creating a class schedule blank. The other reason is we actually hold you a seat in some of those classes. So for instance, that first year projects course is a very popular course. So we want open option students to have access and have a place in that course in the fall. Beyond that, when it comes to registering in July during those windows, you will actually only be registering for 2 classes. So let me pull up the PDF here so you can see what I'm talking about. So open option students will register for about 4 classes their first semester. A math course, a science-based course, engineering projects, which is at GEN 1400, and a humanities and social science course. Now, all open option is designed to give students a flexible first year. So the nice thing about being open option is that you have access to an academic advisor that knows a little bit about all the different areas of engineering. In addition, you are able to kind of set up your schedule this first year that will leave you the most open for majors across the college. Now, open option students can 100% still graduate in 4 years. I will say the easier that you decide on your major, the more you'll be able to create an exact 4-year plan. Open option students have until that 8th week of their second semester, so they have until March to stay open option. After March, we do ask students to select their major, and the reason for that is in April is when you're actually registering for your sophomore year. And there isn't that nice overlap the sophomore year like there is the first year here in the College of Engineering. So when it comes to that fall schedule for open option students, you will be pre-enrolled in June into a math course, which is going to be based on the math placement exam, and your engineering projects course. So therefore, when it comes to building your fall schedule, you will only be adding 2 classes in July. You will be adding physics or chemistry and a humanities and social science course. Now, if you have experience in calculus before, it is recommended that you go ahead and take physics 1110 in the fall. The reason for that is physics 1110 actually counts for all majors here in the College of Engineering. For chemistry, doesn't necessarily. So you can switch the semesters that you take physics and chemistry. However, if you are truly undecided on your major, it is better to go ahead and take physics in the fall and to move chemistry to the spring, and you can easily swap those courses. The other course you would be adding is a humanities and social science course, and we have, I would say, hundreds of options for classes that will count for humanities and social science. If you are in the engineering honors program or the global engineering wrap, both of those courses do count for engineering, humanities, and social science electives. Therefore, you're only going to be adding 1 course in July, which is going to be physics or chemistry, but more than likely physics. That is what your fall semester will look like. It will be math, physics ideally, if you've had calculus experience before, or chemistry, projects, and a humanities and social science. And that is it. That is all that you would have in your first semester, and that is a full-time load. In the spring, how spring advising works is you will actually be required to meet with your academic advisor in about September and October, and you will discuss classes for the spring. This is a general overview of what the spring semester would look like. However, it will vary if you have decided on your major. If you've narrowed it down to maybe your top 2 options, we may recommend either disciplinary courses or courses that overlap nicely with those 2 majors. If you're looking for this recommended first semester courses, it is on our engineering website, which I will give at the end of this presentation. So you can go and read up more on this fall semester recommendation as well. All right, so then in June, so you've done the online experience, you've picked when you're going to register in July. You have half of your classes on your schedule. Beyond that, you will begin building your schedule with those 2 additional classes that I discussed about. You can save classes into a shopping cart. So if you've ever shopped online before, Amazon or any online shopping, our schedule system works a lot like shopping online. You can add hundreds of classes into that shopping cart. It does not hold a spot in the class for you. It does not register for you. However, it's a nice way to kind of play around with different class times, look up options that may be appealing to you, and pre-add those into your shopping cart. And so that is something that once you see those June classes pop up that week of June 18th, that's when you're really going to want to be kind of building the remaining parts of your schedule. And you want to make sure you're selecting classes that don't conflict with things you've already been pre-registered in. So, you know, if you're pre-registered into projects at a certain time, you don't want to pick a physics time that conflicts. So really, I would say you want to wait until that after that week of June 18th in order to be completing, building that class schedule and saving classes into your shopping cart. Yeah. So then what should you be doing in July? So in July is when you will actually be registering for classes. So if you haven't done this already, you'll want to make sure you pick an enrollment window after you complete the online experience. Check and see what classes have been pre-placed onto your schedule. Start building your schedule and saving it into the shopping cart. And then you actually register when your enrollment window begins. So the enrollment windows take place every week throughout the month of July. They begin at 8:30 a.m. on Monday and run through Thursday at 4:30 p.m. It does not matter which enrollment window you are in. We hold seats strategically in classes. That way, whether you're in the first enrollment window or the last enrollment window, you have the same opportunity to take the classes as somebody who is in a different enrollment window. So all I can emphasize is that you're in an enrollment window, that you have access to the internet, and that you're able to actually get online and register at 8:30 a.m. on Monday. When you're adding classes to your shopping cart, something to be aware of is that, for instance, physics may look closed in June, but underneath that you'll see something that says future new student enrollment seats, and that's how you know seats are going to open during your enrollment window. So even though the physics lecture may look closed, you can still add that course to your shopping cart and know that it will open at 8:30 a.m. on Monday. Now, when it comes to these enrollment windows, it is first come, first serve at 8:30 a.m. on Monday. That is Mountain Time at 8:30. Now, when the classes open at 8:30, it is first come, first serve for the number of seats. So if, for instance, the 10 a.m. physics is full and you wait until Tuesday to get online, you will need to pick a different physics time. Now, physics itself will not fill. However, the certain times will fill based on the demand or the popularity during that window. But the reason for that is we only release a certain percentage of seats. That way, if you are in a later enrollment window, or if you're earlier in an earlier enrollment window, you have that same opportunity to take physics at 10 a.m. So only a certain percentage of those seats are going to be released at 8:30 a.m. So it is important, I can't emphasize enough, it doesn't matter which enrollment window you're in, but just that you're online at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, Mountain Time, so you're able to get registered in the classes that you would like. And so once you register, that is it when it comes to registration. Over the summer, your advisor is definitely, I would say, more focused on getting you enrolled in the classes, making sure you're in their prep classes. And then when you meet with them in the fall, you'll do more of a holistic kind of evaluation on the different majors, minors, career paths, etc. So I would say this summer is definitely very focused on making sure you're ready to go for when classes start. And then in August, if you do have an August enrollment window, we do have some in August. You will want to go ahead and register. You'll want to continue working on any holds and to-do items, and I'll discuss those here in a minute, the difference between holds and to-dos. And then after that, you'll just prepare for move-in and engineering launch. Engineering launch is our college welcome day. So we will see you here in August. I have the dates on a later slide, and we'll welcome you to the college. You'll get to meet me as your open option advisor and actually other faculty and students in the college, and get excited about starting classes the following week. So math placement. Math placement is something I want to talk more specifically about, because we do get a lot of questions about math placement, or people who may have taken AP math. So all students in the College of Engineering has to take the calculus math placement exam, or the calculus readiness exam. This is regardless, even if you're bringing in credit for calculus. And the reason for that is we aren't able to pre-register you for your classes if you don't take the exam. So that June timeframe I was talking about, it's really important that everyone takes the Calculus Ready exam. So the link for that can be found in the online experience or on the new Student and Family Programs website. Before you take the exam, I'd encourage you to run through some practice tests. There are lots of practice tests you can do on our engineering website, which I'll have here at the end as well. You can take some practice tests or see things that maybe you can brush up on. But like I said, everyone needs to take the Calculus Ready exam. Even if you're expecting credit for calculus, you must take this exam. Once you take this exam, we will pre-place you into that math class in June. This is prior to receiving any of your AP or transfer credit, but it will be a placeholder for you. You'll see that pop up in June. If you do have any credit, AP or transfer credit, you want to make sure you send those scores in. You'll see that information pop up at the beginning of July onto your record. And then during your enrollment window, you can adjust your schedule and move either up or down in a math class if you need. Now, I can't emphasize enough that if you are considering moving up into a math class, before you change your math class, I might recommend that you take one of our applied math exam archives. This you can also find on the website as well. The reason I recommend this is we have seen students often jump into a math class that they are not necessarily ready for. It really depends on how your AP or IB math class was taught. Sometimes we do see schools teach things differently, or maybe not up to the same level as what our calculus classes are. And so our recommendation typically is to repeat the last math class that you took. So if you did take an AP math, and maybe you scored high where you got credit for Calc 1 and Calc 2, before just jumping to Calc 3, we would recommend you take our Calc 2 exam archive, actually take an exam, go over the solutions, and truly test yourself and see if you are ready for that next higher math class. I cannot emphasize enough that our applied math is a little different than what you've taken in high school. It is calculus applied. So you're going to see more word problems, that applied aspect to calculus, which is definitely different than what you've seen in high school. So, I can't emphasize enough again that you consider repeating the last math class that you took, but at minimum, please go through these exam archives and hold yourself accountable. If you're reading these solutions after you take an exam and it's not looking familiar to you, then we want you to be in the class that you're going to be the most successful in, instead of jumping to a class you're not ready for. So I just want to once again say, make sure that you are kind of holding true to yourself when it comes to math. After you complete the math placement exam, you are able to adjust that, but we do need you to take that math placement exam. Okay, so if you do have any credit, I wanted to show you how you can see it, once we've received the credit, and two, how it may transfer in. So in your MyCU info, where it looks a little bit like this, you'll see this button that says Track Academic Progress. That is your degree audit. and this is where we actually will put your transfer credit evaluation. This includes AP, IB, or any transfer credit into our system. So once you click on that button, it's going to open, I apologize for that, but once you click on that transfer credit evaluation or track progress towards degree, you will open up what is the degree audit. So the degree audit, this is what we use to actually track whether you are ready for graduation or all the requirements that you need to graduate. This is what the homepage looks like. To actually view your transfer evaluations, you'll click on that transfer evaluations tab up at the top. Now, I want to go through a couple of things that you can see on this page. So first and foremost, you'll see that this student has multiple transfer credit coming from different places. So at the top here in gray, you see College of Blank, which means everything below that is coming from that institution. Below that, you see Blank State College. That means they're receiving credit from somewhere else. So it is possible if you have maybe dual enrollment or AP or IB or multiple forms of credit, you can see them all located in here, and you'll see them separated out. So for this student, if we take this top part as an example from the College of Unknown, the top course, the MCS 140, is the course that they took at that school. So you see they got an A, they had 3 credits at that school. The arrow means that's coming into Boulder. Beneath it, you see a bullseye for the term, and CSCI 1300. For TA, is the grade, which means transfer. They got an A, 3 credits. So here's an example of it being a perfect match. So they took that course, it equals our course here, perfect match. Another example is the one right below where you see an arrow coming in, PHY 124 for physics. And then the bullseye, you see PHYS 1999 TC. Now what this means is that we more than likely don't teach that sort of class here at Boulder. So it has been evaluated and we just don't have a course that is an exact match. Now you see the student is still getting 5 credits, so they're still receiving credit for it, but it isn't equaling an exact class like the CSCI above. Now, there is the chance that something will transfer, but not necessarily apply. So if you are seeing a 199 TC, I would say it's important to talk with your academic advisor and see if it can still, even though it isn't an exact match for a class, how it may apply for your degree, or if you could have it evaluated to apply for your degree. Down here, you'll see that this course needs a syllabus from the below option. So what that means is that we are missing information and we aren't able to evaluate that class. That could be for a variety of reasons, and we just need more additional information. So if there is the need, or you see something that says needs syllabus, you would need to contact that school and get the syllabus and actually send it to our admissions office in the transfer credit unit. Everything funnels through the admissions office first and then is applied to our system, where then we have access to see it. But one thing I want to note, which I didn't know earlier, is if you are receiving credit from multiple places like AP or IB, you may also be receiving dual enrollment credit. Dual enrollment is something where you are receiving credit for a college class while sitting in your high school class. Now, sometimes students think that the high school transcript will actually count as the official transcript for the college credit, but unfortunately that is incorrect. So if you are in a dual enrollment or a concurrent enrollment type situation where you're receiving college credit for a high school class, you actually need to contact that institution or that community college or that college and have them send the transcript, not your high school. So I just wanted to clear that up because sometimes we do get some confusion there. So I want to talk a little bit about holds and to-do items because there is a little different between these two. So In your MyCU info, you will see that red number at the top, which shows you how many holds and to-do items you have. When you click on that, it will open up another kind of pop-up which talks through holds and then to-do items. Holds stop something. That may be registration, that may be your transcript, but holds will stop something. To-do items do not necessarily stop something. Now, the one thing I want to say is if you're wondering what these are or how to clear these, you can actually click on the to-do or the hold, and it will open up information as far as what office is asking you to do this, who to contact if you have questions, and how to resolve that hold and to-do item. So what I was talking back about registration in June and July, I want to say after you register, you should be working still on these hold and to-do items and clearing those to make sure you're ready to go for the fall semester. Like I said, holds will stop you from either registering or being able to do something. And so it is important definitely that you get the holds cleared. In the fall is when you'll register for the spring. And in the College of Engineering, you are required to meet with an advisor every single semester once you begin classes until you graduate. So in the fall, and about September and October, you will get a hold, which you'll see there in your MyCU info, pop on that says, meet with your academic advisor. That will stop registration. So registration for you to be able to register in the spring. So it is really important that you clear your holds. And that is something you kind of keep an eye on throughout your time as a student, because those will stop you from progressing to either the next step or the registration or applying for graduation, whatever it may be. So make sure you keep an eye on your holds and to-dos throughout your time as a student. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about MyCU Hub. I like to say that you have 3 systems here that you'll use as a CU Boulder student. You have your MyCU Info, which is where you access the online experience. You access how to register for classes. That is kind of your main hub for accessing all of your student information. So if you aren't really sure where to go, MyCU Info is a good place to start. You will also use Canvas. Canvas is where your course information is located. That's where your professor will post maybe your grades or assignments. So Canvas is the other one. You took your math, or you will take if you haven't already, but your math readiness, your math placement exam, that is through Canvas. And so that is another kind of system you'll use. The third system that you will use as a student here is going to be your MyCU Hub. Your MyCU Hub is where you gain access to make an appointment with your academic advisor. And that link to that is up at the top of this page. Now, I want to talk through a little bit of information about MyCU Hub, because in June is when you'll be able to actually schedule an appointment with your advisor. When you log into MyCU Hub, your page will look a little bit like this. To make an appointment with your advisor, you actually just click on their face, as silly as that may be. The holds up there, it's another example of where you can see your holds, so you can make sure you're clearing those and kind of actively working on those throughout your time. And then that degree audit, which is where you can see your transfer credit evaluation, you can also directly link out to that as well. So those are kind of helpful things on your MyCU Hub that you can link to as well. Now, if you're trying to make an appointment with your advisor and you click on their face, it's going to open a calendar that looks a little bit like this. Now, here's an example of where you may have multiple people assigned to you. So maybe one day you add a minor and you'll see your minor advisor pop up. If you are in a special program, some special programs go ahead and assign you a support person in MyCU Hub. And then in June, your academic advisor will pop up there in MyCU Hub. Now, the one thing to be aware of is that the MyCU Hub calendar is color coordinated. So you want to make sure you are scheduling the appointment with the person that is, corresponding with the correct color. So that is, here we see multiple colors, and then up on that left-hand side, my success team. You want to make sure you are scheduling with the correct person. Another thing I want to highlight is you'll see here some gray boxes. At 9 a.m. on Monday, for instance, and then 9:35, you see some gray boxes. Gray means that those appointments are booked, so they aren't available for you to book. Somebody else does have those appointments, so you'll need to find a different time. If you are seeing all gray or no options, that means either your advisor is completely booked for that week, or maybe they're on vacation in the month of June over the summer. So you will want to go up to this arrow and click through to the next week. Something to be aware of is that our advisors typically schedule about 2 weeks in advance here in the College of Engineering. So you can click through about 2 weeks ahead and see what the availability is for your academic advisor. So I have been talking a lot about the Engineering Advising webpage. That is where you can see those 4-year plans. You can also see the recommended course schedule for open option, as well as all this information that I have covered during this webinar. So the General Advising website, located here in these 2 links, they're the same links, is a good place to kind of see all the information about academic standing, resources, degree planning, access to all of the advisors. In addition, all of our major departments and programs have their own website. So if you are looking into, maybe you have a top 2 major interests, it would be helpful to look at those websites as well, in addition with our kind of overarching general website. Our staff is here to support you. So as the Open Option Advisor, I'll work with you throughout your whole first year. Beyond that, once you just declare your major by the deadline of March of your first year, you will be reassigned an advisor in that major. And you'll work with that advisor all the way through graduation. So all of our departments have staff advisors or faculty mentors. Some have both. So you will have access to a support person that you are required to meet with every semester before you register at minimum. However, I want to encourage you to get to know these people. A lot of them are aware of internships or job opportunities or research that's happening, or can help connect you with people that have a similar interest, or can help guide your uncertainty if you are deciding between a couple majors. So get to know your advisor, whether it is a staff or a faculty member, because they can really help with this uncertainty that you may face during your time as you're narrowing down your major as an open option student. Additionally, we have a variety of academic support services that are here to support you. Our college has academic coaches, which are one-on-one personal coaching from a professional coach. Common topics include metacognition, learning strategies, time management, how to study like an engineer. Our coaches are there to help meet you, whether that's weekly or bi-weekly, and overcome that hurdle that you may face here, whether that's your first semester, your last semester, throughout your time here in engineering. So we have dedicated support staff to help kind of coach you through these academic success strategies. In addition, we have the BOLD Center, which is broadening opportunity through leadership and diversity, which hosts a variety of programs in inclusive excellence, student societies, and communities. And then they also have the Student Success Center, which is free tutoring for any student in the college that you can drop in. Definitely a lot of the many first-year engineering classes, you can pop in and receive free tutoring in the BOLD Center as well. We also have our own General Engineering Library, which is located in the Math Building, which is right across from the Engineering Center. That they have librarians that can help you with maybe researching that engineering topic, study space, all the engineering software that you may need. So that is for our students. And then this is just a little blip into the many resources that we have here in the College of Engineering to help you be successful as a student. So, you know, a lot of your first year courses like math and physics or computing will have help rooms. So those are dedicated hours every week to help you get through those homework problems or study for your exams as well. And so I can't encourage you enough to make sure you are taking advantage of the support resources from the beginning, because we have a lot of them to help you be successful during your time here as an engineering student. So other important things to be aware of is that we do want you to take Clifton Strengths. You should receive an email about this in June. That is something we will use during engineering launch. So it's important to take that assessment, see what your strengths are, and kind of keep that into your back pocket. And then I did talk about engineering launch back when we were talking about the different months. Engineering launch is a mandatory new student welcome day. So you're required to attend both days in full. You should expect to be busy from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on August 22nd and 23rd. So that Thursday and Friday of the first week. That is where you will meet other students in a variety of majors, faculty, your open option advisor, lots of people here to support you and welcome you to our college. It's super fun and exciting. Food, you know, lots of fun presentations, engineering design. So get excited. It's a very, I would say, engaging 2 days to help welcome you to our community. So definitely look forward to those, put those on your calendar, and then just know that you are required to attend both of those days in full. And then last but not least, I just want to note these important websites. So, you know, your MyCU Hub is down there at the bottom where you can make an appointment with your advisor beginning in June. And then the engineering advising webpage is where you have access to all the first year registration information as far as, you know, instructions on what you can be doing step by step, another kind of step by step like this webinar. So I would recommend taking maybe a picture of this page or kind of clicking on those links and visiting those so you can learn more. Make sure you're kind of completing everything that you need to do to transition successfully and get registered here in the College of Engineering. And with that being said, I am very thankful that you have watched this video and are here. We are so excited to have you join us in the college. And if any questions come up, please feel free to reach out to your academic advisor in June. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your summer, get registered, and we look forward to welcoming you to our community this fall.